Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of our recipe channel, and today we're going to be making a mini apple crumble tartlet. Super yummy, fresh apples, gorgeous blueberries. Please stay tuned. We'll see you soon. Right, let's get started. First thing we need to do is make a yummy base for our tartlets. Our trusty food processor, some beautiful almonds. Don't forget that the ingredients to this recipe are in the description box, so head on down there and grab them. And we're going to put in 2 cups of almonds. They're just raw almonds. And we're also going to be adding 2 cups of walnuts. Now walnuts are a bit softer than almonds, so we're going to start with the almonds and then add the walnuts in a sec. Prepare for some noise. Oh my gosh, they're so noisy. It's because the almonds are so hard. All right, walnuts. Fresh, beautiful California walnuts, always the nicest walnuts. A couple of cups of that, 1. And having a nut base obviously means that it's going to be gluten-free. No wheat, no grains, good stuff. And a couple of those. Perfect, let's give that another whiz, and we want it into a coarse crumble. Perfect. Now we've got some eggs. Let's crack a couple of eggs into that. Without the shell. That was a bit. Let's try that again. That's better. Some coconut oil, which I have melted earlier, and we don't need a lot. Oh, that's not going to do anything. Just going to put a couple of spoons in, and that's just going to help it bind, and it'll also help it get nice and brown when we cook it. Let's see how we go with that. And to that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of cinnamon. Oh, cinnamon smells so gorgeous. Beautiful, let's give that a whiz. And what we're looking for now is for it to all come together. Okay. Yep, pretty good, nice and sticky, and I can feel the eggs and the oil, which will be great. When that cooks, it's going to bind really well. All right, let's get rid of this mixer. So I have 1 large muffin base tin, and here are some papers that I cut and prepared earlier to fit these. Now the reason why I'm using paper, now you can just oil them, but this is not a non-stick pan, so I'm not going to take the risk of having my little tartlets get squashed in there, get stuck in there. So this is what I'm doing. So take one of these and put it in there, and I'll meet you on the other side. Great, so got them all beautifully portion control. Got now my little cup, and I'm going to use that to squash them into a good shape, into a little tart base. And the extra little bit of paper helps to keep everything from sticking to the cup. I'm going to use a smaller cup now just to get it down even further. Yes. Aren't they cool? Now let's get onto the filling. We need to peel and cook some apples. Great, let's do our apples. First thing we got to do is peel those little babies. Green, tart, Granny Smith apples are always the nicest ones because that tartness gives the cooked apples a really lovely flavour, and it's not too sickly sweet. Cool. Okay, peeled. Now let's chop them up. We want to take the cores out. You want to do it whatever way is easy for you. And as you saw, we've got 4 large apples. So if you've only got little weeny ones, you might need 5 or 6. Okay, and you want a very small dice so that they fit into the tart shells. I probably have a little bit too many apples here, but since they shrink, we won't know until they're cooked. Awesome. Now to that I'm going to add a couple of knobs of margarine. I use Nuttelex, but it's basically a non-hydrogenated vegetable shortening. And then we've got some beautiful fresh vanilla, which we de-seeded earlier today. I'm going to throw a bit of that in, probably about 1. And let's not forget that cinnamon, which goes so beautifully with apple. Just a little sprinkle, don't want to overdo it. We've got it in the base already. Let's get that butter down the bottom. And apples have a lot of moisture in them. Some people like to add a touch of water into the base. Because we've added the margarine, we probably don't need that, but let's see how we go. Give that a good stir, get all the flavours to coat all the apple pieces, particularly the vanilla, which tends to clump. So now we just want to let that simmer and let all the apples soften. Ideally put a lid on it, and we'll come back in a few minutes. It's been 10 minutes and this beautiful apple, it's a bit hot, is beautifully stewed down. It's not complete mush, it's still got some form, but it's really well cooked and very tender and perfect. Great. All right, so we've got all our ingredients. Now we need to make what we're going to put as the crumble topping. In this bowl, I have 3/4 cup of almond meal. And to that, I'm going to add some coconut sugar. Now, it would be very easy to add loads of sugar at this point, but you don't need to. The apple is really sweet already. So I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons. That's enough. To that, I'm also going to add the rest of my vanilla, which is another pod that we scraped down earlier. And finally, a little bit of cold butter, which we're going to, probably about a teaspoon of that. Nuttelex actually, but you could use butter. If you're not dairy free, use butter. But this is a vegan recipe, so and we're going to just really gently massage all the ingredients together so it forms a crumb. And what happens with that crumb when we've got that little bit of fat in it is when we cook it, the butter melts, the margarine melts, and so it gets a lovely crumbly brown topping on our tartlets. Beautiful. Doesn't need to be, that's if I keep it in the bowl. Don't need to overwork it. Just as long as there's not any super big clumps of vanilla or margarine. You could also use coconut oil. Just make sure it's solid, not liquidy. Whatever fat you use needs to be solid. Okay, that's done. Let's get our bases and assemble. Here's some we prepared earlier. Beautiful. Now, get a spoon. Get a nice big spoon of that apple into our base. Okay, so as I suspected, we have got a little bit too much apple. So let's adjust that recipe to 3 big apples. We've got some frozen blueberries that I've allowed to defrost. I'm going to throw a few of those on top. Don't overfill your cases. And you want to get a good ratio of blueberry to apple too. And that's the beauty also of having the paper, is you can fill it up beyond the tart case, whereas if you don't have that, it could get very, very messy very quickly. Yum! I'm a big fan of apple in recipes. How about you? Do you guys have a favourite fruit that you like to see in tarts or pies? Send us a little comment in the comment section. Love to hear from you. Okie dokie, that's it for the blueberries. And we're going to put a little crumble on the top. Okay, all done. They're looking gorgeous. Yum! Let's put that into our preheated oven at 180 degrees. And we're going to cook them for between 20 and 30 minutes. I'll let you know once it's done. Fantastic! Look at these babies. It'll be very hot. Let's take one out and have a look what it looks like. I'm going to put this forward. That has been going for 30 minutes. So you just want to make sure that it's nice and golden at the top. All right. And that is the little tart. Let's open her up and see what it looks like inside. Ooh. And you've got all that beautiful apple and the berries and the biscuit base. Well, it's not biscuit base, is it? It's a nut base. I wonder if it's too hot to try a bite of. This will come together also when it's cooled down a bit. It'll hold better. Yum. Super beautiful. I love that the base is not like that gluey pastry. It's that lovely nut, a good solid nutty base, not overly sweet. This isn't a very sweet dish, so if you want to up the sweetness, feel free to, but I kind of like it not too sweet. And the berries and the apple are really lovely, and then the crumble on top. What would be really smashing with this is some cashew cream on the side. That would be fantastic. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this delicious recipe. I'm going to put these out for everybody to enjoy. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, hit the bell. Don't miss out on these great recipes. Have an awesome day. Take care everyone, bye. a mini gluten-free